Good morning. Thank you very much, Comrade Darrell. Minister, I think it is clear that the democratic government led by the glorious African National Congress has done quite a lot in terms of addressing the issues and the challenges of small, medium, micro, and large enterprises in terms of coordinating from your department relating to the NDP. But my issue, Comrade Jeff, is that we sat here, I personally sat through a number of sessions, and I will speak about two of those sessions. One was with Minister Davis, when he was asked about red tape in terms of facilitating business for international companies as well as small and medium micro enterprises. Comrade Lindiwe Zulu was asked the same question in her session, exactly the same question. But the response that you got from two cabinet colleagues was completely different, which then says the coordination still has to take place at cabinet level. Because if two ministers of the same cabinet respond to a same question differently in relating to this issue of red tape, it tells me, or at least warns that there isn't that coordination, that unity of purpose, and the two cabinet colleagues understanding the same thing. So I'm saying that is one challenge that you face, and I think it's something that you need to address as fast as is possible, because the second level is the coordination between provincial and local level with what is happening at national government. But if at cabinet level, two cabinet colleagues are not at one on an important issue such as this one-stop shop, because Minister David answered the question about the one-stop shop that has been created, but Minister Zulu did not allude to that. By the way, my name is Tabiso Taka from EnviroServe. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We move to the middle table.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Tukwani Muloto, and my concern is about the land issue. We have been hearing that the land is to be allocated, distributed to everybody, including the people in the former homelands. But to the surprise of everybody, the land which was held in trust by apartheid regime for a long time, since 1936, it was taken back by the democratic government as the owner of, not even trustee, including the land that has been purchased by private people from their own pocket after selling pigs, goats, and sheep. It is today the title holder of the land, which forms 13%, is now in the ownership of the democratic government for the past 23 years. And is the government aware that the people are now impatient about that situation? Is either they are given the land in the form of title deed, as you know, that you can't own any piece of land without a title deed. When are the people of those areas of 13% in the former homelands, when are they going to be given their title deeds so that they can be owners? Because they are squatters as we are speaking now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The other half, yes. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Jacob Seletisha from Chiana Trading Enterprise.
Can you just speak up a little bit, please?
My name is Jacob Seletisha from Chiana Trading Enterprise. Minister Radebe, a lot has said by the gentleman there. I think he's online. There are good programs from our government, especially the development of the SMMEs, especially in the construction sector. There is a program, Minister, that develops contractors. In Gauteng, that program collapsed previously. The participant took the department to court and they won the case for them to be reinstated. And that thing on its own caused stampede. There are other contractors that need to participate. I am from Limpopo. The program in 2012 or 2011 collapsed. And the blame was shifted to that Limpopo went under administration. That's why the program collapsed. Currently, there is a program that is national called Vukupile, which I'm a participant in Limpopo. Minister, the program currently, it's a good program, but the program is in ICU. It's in really, really ICU stage. It needs intervention. We wrote letters to the former MEC. We wrote letters to the current MEC. Nothing is happening. And there are contractors that need to be part. We can't exit the program because the program is not in a good state. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for this round? Okay, we're going to come round for a second round. Minister Radebe.
Thank you for those three comments or questions, Envarosev. Yeah, it is true, as I've been able to demonstrate, that government has done a lot in terms of improving the quality of life in South Africans, as well as supporting business. On the issue of coordination, the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation is a new department, comparatively speaking, in South Africa. If you recall, in 2009, the President appointed 2 ministers in the presidency. One was responsible for the National Planning Commission, which was Minister Trevor Manuel, and the other one was the late Collins Chabane, was heading performance monitoring and evaluation. It is only in 2014 that those 2 entities were combined into one, which is now called Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation. So the issue of coordination, it is a fair point that Environmental Serve is making. We are increasing capacity as a government to give capacity in the center of government in order to able to monitor the performance of the whole of government. You can be able to look at our website at DPME, where we provide assessment of the implementation of the NDP and the performance of government departments, which we post on our website every quarter. On the issue of red tape, I was not here when the 2 ministers were speaking, but I can confirm that this issue has been at the center of our discussion for quite a number of years now, not only as government, but in a partnership with business as well as labor. That's why the issue of this one-stop shop came about in order to ensure that investors, whether foreign or local, must go to one window where they can be able to ensure that all the requirements that they need in order to invest can be provided, which is the coordinating department at trade and industry. I do hope that that process is unfolding, because I'm aware that there are about 40 priority projects that have been identified to be part of this program of this one-stop shop that will entice investment into the South African economy. Mr. Moloto, you are correct. The issue of land is a very emotional issue. Let's recall that in 1930, when the Land Act was passed in 1913, the first Secretary General of the ANC, Solomon Plaatje, made a very prophetic comment that awakening that Friday morning, the native did not find himself without land, but a pariah in the land of his birth. So that issue, that historic injustice of land has not been resolved successfully. As a government, we have admitted as the ANC that this land reform program has not moved quick and fast enough. That is why even at this conference of the ANC, even in the last National Policy Conference, that issue is very burning. That is why there are proposals of how we can be able to accelerate the land reform program, because without addressing that historic injustice, we'll never have peace in our country. So I do hope that as we rise as the national conference, we're going to be clarifying ourselves on this issue, including the process of finally resolving it. But it is a matter that has to be resolved. On the issue of title deed, there is a specific program of action that our government is embarking upon of ensuring that we transfer title deeds to all our people who deserve them. The Department of Human Settlements is being seized with this matter of how we can be able to accelerate this. There's even a committee that was a task team that was established in order to ensure that we accelerate that with the Minister of Human Settlements and I think the Premier of Northwest, in order to ensure that there is a coordinated way of rolling out the giving and transferring of these title deeds. Jacob, on the issue of the contractor development program, if you can give me more details about that, what is happening in Limpopo, we can, as DPME, intervene in order to assist how we can be able to deal with this matter, because it is not correct that such a good program can be in the ICU. So we'll be able to support you to remove that important program from the ICU so that it must serve our people, because the reason why the President established a new Department of Small Development, or Small Business Development in 2014, and the Minister was to highlight this point of promoting small and medium enterprises in the economy, because we know the potential that SME have in boosting economic growth as well as rising employment in any economy. Many egalitarian type of societies around the world are those that are dominated by small and medium enterprises, not monopolies. So it is to our strategic interest that where there are problems that we have just highlighted, we can be able to decisively intervene in order to promote even the contractor development program. That is very key, because there's one area of infrastructure where government has leverage, because in the past 7 or so years, we've spent more than 1 trillion rand in infrastructure, on transport, on energy, on rail, electricity, and so on. So that must also benefit small and medium enterprises so that we can be able to boost economic growth and also employment rates in our country. Thank you.
Okay, next round. We didn't have many questions from this side. Do we have, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, 4 in this round. Okay, let's start on the far corner and move our way over. Mike, where you are?
Thank you, Darryl, and thank you also, Minister Jeff Radebe. For me, today is not to talk about business, because I've been attending PBF business breakfasts for a long time. My name is Josiah Nsibande. I'm coming from Letubukan Health Institute. For me, it's just to thank the ANC for holding the successful national conference. We understand that the doomsayers were saying the conference will collapse. Thank you very much. And again, I would like to thank the members of the ANC, especially the delegates, because they have proven beyond reasonable doubt that they are, of course, a united organization. Let me tell you, in terms of the so-called markets, we're predicting the collapse of the conference. But I can tell you, even the top 6 of the ANC is well balanced. Okay, that dent of not having enough women, yes, we understand that one. But I can tell you, it's like somebody has taken the top 6 for wheel balancing, because let's leave that top 6 as it is. Thank you very much.
Well, let's work on the woman balance here and the questions as well, and we come to the front table for the chair of the CRL.
Morning, Minister and everyone. I think for me the question is, how do you popularize the National Development Plan? Because I hear you saying you post every quarter, but people who are in a village somewhere, in a township somewhere, who don't have access, do not know what is happening with the National Development Plan, and they don't even know that you have one. I think it will be useful if we can take the National Development Plan as a roadmap for South Africa, so that even if the services have not come to your village, at least you understand that there's something happening somewhere and that other people are benefiting even if you don't see any action around you. So we feel it's very critical that there is a process of trying to rethink how you take the National Development Plan to the ground. By the way, I'm Togo Mkwanas Kaluva from the CRL Rights Commission.
Thank you very much. Just raise your hand, Cindy. So we're getting the gender balance right now.
Yes, thank you. I think yesterday we only had one lady that spoke, so I'm evening that out. My name is Cindy Mkuteni. I'm a director at Syntegricom Solutions and also founder of My Goal Foundation and director of Kuji Consulting. So my hands are pretty full. My question to you, Minister, I'm in the technology industry and we've got locally developed content. We're also a proudly South African company. However, I think there's a mismatch between what government is working towards in terms of technology advancement, and there isn't enough communication to SMMEs as to what do we need to prepare for tenders or opportunities that may come about. So we get enlightened by opportunities and the request would be an off-the-shelf product. So how do we ensure that SMMEs are able to develop local content that is required and perhaps given time before opportunities are presented so that we're ready to develop locally because we've got the capacity. And the capability. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll go to another woman just in the front here.
Thank you very much, Convener. Honorable Minister, yesterday we had the Minister of Economic Development. He spoke on critical issues of economic revival. Now, when he was actually articulating on his speech, it was inclusive growth, inclusive growth. Now, when you look at rural areas, we know that when we speak about economic upturn for any economy in any country, you've got skills, you've got productivity, you've got infrastructure. Now, agriculture is one of the most important sectors to revive the economy. And I think all of us know that today we're sitting in a plus because of the agriculture sector. Now, Dada, what do we say about mainstreaming of the rural community? Because they've got vast majority of land. How do we make sure that they are actually part and parcel of the economy of South Africa by contributing in terms of those women that are sitting in rural areas to be productive and make those lands to be actually tilled and actually get something out of it? And also, agriculture is key. I mean, my colleague Brian yesterday spoke about young people. I think we need to shift a little bit. where we look at introducing agriculture to young people at a tertiary level so that they'll be able to understand that agriculture is actually sexy, by the way, Minister, because it's the key pillar of the economy. But young people don't actually know that. They know agriculture is something that is useless. But in the meantime, it's something that is really driving the economy. With those words, Baba, I would like us to actually link it to the National Development Plan. How do we take these young people and make sure that they participate in the agricultural space? Thank you very much. My name is Cindy Somzamo, the Group CEO for Edison Power and the TG for Black Business Council.
Okay, we're going to go to another woman. Okay. Over there.
Morning, my name is Kathy Shluvana from Deloitte. So, I happen to be part of the project that was doing financial management capability maturity assessments for municipalities. And one of the things that we found was that municipalities are unable to pay for more than even 1,000 days to small business. Then we have a situation where government is unable to have a list of products that they procure from service providers, and more so to understand the prices that they are being charged. Most of the time, they are overcharged. We have an example of Mangaung. It bought a bottle of water, still water, for 150 rands. And Mangaung, somewhere half the way of the year, the budget is over. And a lot of programs are affected because they spend a lot of money in one program because the prices of what they are paying, it's a lot. So what I want to plead with government is that they need to have a database of some kind for the products that they procure, because the prices that they are paying is a lot. And we can't have a situation where halfway through the year, a municipality does not have money at all. They even struggle to pay employees because we bought a bottle of water for 150 rand. How do we reconcile this, Minister, so that at least the government is able to deliver programs and service delivery to the people of South Africa? Thank you.
And let's close this round with men reclaiming their rights a bit. Front table. With a beautiful vendor shirt.
Good morning, everyone. To me, vendor today is all about capacity. Capacity. If you are capable to be a leader, then you can lead us. Honorable Comrade Minister, I'm saying we are an army of business people here. The mistake that I see that the government is doing is they are planning for business.
People. And it's time for them to, when they are about to plan their thing, they must plan it with us. We are the Progressive Business Forum here, and then we can offer our service to you. I've told Minister Lindiwe to say, I've got ideas and plans, and then I'm offering my service to her for free. And then I'm sending the message to you to say, I'm here, I'm available. I'm sure some members of the Business Progressive Forum are here, and then we are an army in waiting. We want to drive this economy. Thank you.
Good, thank you. We'll close that round. Minister Radebe. Radebe.
Thank you for those comments and questions. The first one, Sibande, it was a comment. Thank you. It is a successful conference. It will be successful. The doomsayers will eat humble pie, will rise here with the new President Ramaphosa giving his first speech as a brand new president, 14th president of the ANC. On the top 6, it is true that through the democratic process, unfortunately, only one woman made it to the top 6 as the Deputy Secretary General, Comrade Jesse Duarte, but I can assure you that as we elect the National Executive Committee, in terms of the ANC Constitution, the leadership must consist at least 50% women. So that will be adjusted during the National Executive Committee elections, which is going to be announced sometime today. The Chairperson of the Gender Commission, thank you for your comment. It is true. Government, we are generally bad communicators. I think we need to accept that, but do something to resolve it. I take your comment that we need to do more as government to communicate what the NDP is about, even in all the official languages of South Africa, so that we can even reach the far-flung areas of the Republic of South Africa about this National Development Plan. Through the GCIS, they're trying to do something about it, but I think more effort has to be put into this, even using community radio stations, community newspapers, the word of mouth, etc., etc. Thank you for that comment of popularizing the NDP. But also other social partners, business, labor must also do the same, because as I've said, the NDP is not about government only, it's about all South Africans, because we have embraced that as our vision 2030. On the issue from Cindy, yeah, it is true that this issue of local content, the mismatch between government and the private sector, that's what we're trying to address it, especially on the issue of skills and ICT. The World Economic Forum has indicated that 65% of the children who are at primary schools today in 2017 will be in jobs that do not exist today. So that calls upon collaboration between government and business in setting even the curriculum so that we must nurture and develop skills that are required by the industry and business, like what many countries are doing. So that is why part of the program of the post-school education is even to transform our institutions of higher learning, that the kind of skills that are taught there are in conformity with the developing world, in line with the 4th Industrial Revolution, which is not coming, it is upon us. So we need to respond to it so that we can be able to encourage our children to learn the STEM skills, STEM, the science, the technology, the engineering, and mathematics, in order to ensure that also the ICT, those are the basic skills that you require. I'm now becoming a fundi in terms of using technology. I shudder to think that my daughter was 10 years old. He wants me to buy her a cellular phone, so I'm refusing to buy her. She says, Daddy, how old were you when your parents bought you a cellular phone? So when you come to think of it, if any human being has no skill to utilize ICT, how are you going to operate anywhere? Come to think of it, as I was seated in the conference here, through technology, I get more information what is happening inside the conference than those who do not have access to information. They tell you who's doing what, who's threatening to do what, and so on and so on. So the ICT is upon us. Even worse now, this 4th Industrial Revolution, 3D printing, artificial intelligence, and so on and so on. So those are the necessary skills of the 21st century that we need by law to train and teach our children. Further on this issue of local content, I've said that there's a 30% set aside, even for SMMEs, as well as more work that we are doing as Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation to ensure that the local content must be promoted and supported as opposed to imports. So that's the direction that we are moving towards, and that is also another way of promoting local entrepreneurs in order to ensure that we can be able to develop a thriving business environment. On the issue of Ms. Mzamo, correct, Agriculture is also key. If you remember in 2015 when the President announced the 9-point plan to reignite growth, point number 1 was agriculture and agro-processing. And I think the results of the third quarter of GDP of 2% highlights about 44% driver was agriculture. So I agree with you that now agriculture is perceived as not being sexy. But we need to recognize, I was in Limpopo about 2 months ago. So one young African guy is a farmer. He told us, Minister, have you eaten breakfast today? And I said, yes. Then he says, you must thank the farmer. So what can we do without food? Even Karl Marx, the founder of scientific socialism, wrote in 1848 that before a human being can engage in politics, etc., you need to eat, you need shelter. These are basic necessity of life. So agriculture is actually a political imperative as well as economic necessity. So we need to promote it, including teaching our people agricultural, even sciences around it, so that we can be able to ensure that this is actually a growth sector, so that we should stop being an importer of food as South Africa, but we must be able to be self-sufficient in order to ensure that the security of food, which is also a security matter, can be resolved. On the issue of mainstreaming, yes, we also have a program of promoting township enterprises as well as rural areas. That is why a Department of Rural Development and Land Reform was established to do precisely that. Our role is to ensure that we accelerate that to a large extent. Deloitte, it is true that this issue of a non-timers payment for services that have been rendered is one of the failings of government. But we are doing something about it because it is part of the PFMA, the Public Finance Management Act, that suppliers need to be paid within 30 days of production of a valid invoice. There is a unit that is led by DPME, including National Treasury, Department of Public Service and Administration, as well as Economic Development, in order to drive this program of making sure that government can be able to pay within 30 days. I do know that, for example, provinces and municipalities are the biggest culprits in this area. The President convened the Intergovernmental Forum about a month or so ago, where all the premiers were present, including SALCA. This issue is on the agenda of the day, but we need to see blood on the floor, where accounting officers must be charged, because it actually is not only a misconduct, but it's a violation of the Act not to pay within 30 days because it is stipulated in the PFMA. So we are doing something about it to bring to book those who are not adhering to the PFMA, including charging accounting officers who violate this. Last one, I think it was a comment on the issue of a volunteer. So our doors are open, they've never been shut. So if you can give us your details so that we can be able to utilize your services as a worthy citizen, because it is part of the NDP, our Vision 2030 of active citizenry, of ensuring that each and every one of us must put a shoulder to the wheel in order to attain those objectives of the National Development Plan. Thank you.
Thank you. I did see you, but we're going to give you a skip because your company's already had the opportunity and we need to wrap up the morning. But I must also just say that we got through a lot of questions this morning because we were productive in short to-the-point questions. So we've proved to the people how it should be done. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to ask Yagan to come and wrap up the morning for us and do the vote of thanks. Over to you.
Honourable Jeffrey Radebe, respected elders, our most valued guests, Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to have been afforded the opportunity to do the vote of thanks. I, and on behalf of our key shareholders, Kilimanjaro Capital, my executive team from National Security and Fire, and the ANC Business Forum, together and on my own, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to our keynote speaker for sharing his views, insight, vision, and opinions today. We're all inspired by your words, Honourable Chief Radebe. To the organizers and the ANC, thank you for the opportunity of being part of a great conference. We thank all of you, our comrades, colleagues, for supporting the Business Forum and breakfast. I hope you'll take the time to support each other. Join National Security and Fire. Today, Chubb Security announces to all its 100,000 clients that we're now going to become National Security and Fire. And we invite all of you to join us in making the economy of South Africa better, supporting local jobs, creating work, creating jobs. Support each other as opposed to complaining about we don't have enough work, we don't have enough business. When we support each other locally, then we will create that work and we'll create the support for each other. So in finalizing today, I'd just like to do something different, ask you all to stand for 1 second if you don't mind. If you can put your hand on the person next to you and just connect and join. What we can do here is transfer the energy, transfer supporting each other's businesses as opposed to supporting the rest of the world's businesses. And we're not saying we don't support the rest of the world, but let's support each other first. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Then all that remains is for me to thank National Security and Fire once again for making this morning possible. And I would also like to acknowledge the role of Kilimanjaro. Thank you very much for connecting us and making this possible. Enjoy the rest of your day.